how has traveling been? I see that you guys come to the United States a lot. I saw you in Rochester. Like, has
Oh,
that been
sick.
easy?
No, it has not been easy. So, coming from South Africa is a very strange thing, actually, because no one gives you any advice on how to do it as a band. There's not many bands from here, so we don't really know who to ask for advice to help us, like with the right visas that we would need, or like just advice in general on how to kind of get this stuff to work coming from here. So we've had to kind of figure it out on our own, and it's
Right.
expensive. You have to get visas for every place you go to. America was a nightmare, honestly. And if
Right.
you like for America, if you have, let's say, a B1 visa, B2, that's like a normal 10-year tourist visa. You can't tour on that. You have to get a special type of visa called a P1. And we basically had to get lawyers involved and like basically just spend a lot of money and hope for the best, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
And we are lucky enough for it all to work out. But yeah, it's not easy. It really isn't. But we're very lucky to be doing this, and we're like pretty much the only metal band from this country doing this full time. So it's
Right.
yeah, it's not a common thing. It's very cool, and we're very grateful that we get to do this. But yeah, we haven't had any help, and it is extremely hard.
So, does the time change screw with you, like your health? Like I know it's 5 o'clock here, but what time is it in
Mm.
Africa?
It's 11 at night, so yeah,
Wow.
11
Yeah.
p.m.
So, when you're on tour, how long does it take until like you know, you're, you know, you're equaled out?
Well, America was quite intense because it's quite the obviously the time difference. But when we go to like Europe, it's just an hour difference. We're basically on the same time zone, so that is pretty cool. Because we go to Europe more than, well, we have been to Europe more than any other place, and we've only done one U.S. tour. I've been to Nam twice in California, and played there
Nice.
on my own. But yeah, we've only done one U.S. tour. We are supposed to do another one now in May, June, but obviously with this whole virus and all the travel restrictions and just everything that's going on, it's impossible. We were also supposed to be in Asia. I think our Asia tour would have already been done by now, but we couldn't go on that. It was very unfortunate. So yeah, it's been.
How how is Asia shows compare? I've been told by multiple people that Asia tours, just the atmosphere is totally different from the United States. Like they have way more energy.
Well, it would have been our first time in Asia now, but I've heard that it's
Okay.
amazing. I've heard from the dudes in Within Destruction that their
Yep.
tour there went incredibly well, and yeah, they just said it was incredible. They said China was even better than Japan, which they didn't expect. So
Gotcha.
yeah, but I really want to go. Hopefully, we can go back early next year if the travel restrictions have been lifted. We will probably do some sort of Asia Europe tour all in one go. So hopefully that can still
Gotcha.
happen. Yeah.
So how do you guys actually like transport all of your gear? Like drum sets, guitars, cabs?
So it depends. Like every tour is unique because we make plans depending on the musicians on the tour. Sometimes if we're doing like a van tour or something, like maybe the a band from the country we're touring in can bring a drum kit and can bring gear that can help us. I bring a Kemper everywhere. It's yeah,
Ooh,
so that helps. It's I need it because I switch drastically between amp sounds, like drastic amp sounds. Because I need like a thump tone, and then I need like a lead tone, and I need a rhythm tone, and then I need like a super clean tone, like an ambient clean for in between songs, because I like to fill up a lot of the space in between songs with just like this Arabic sounding ambient stuff. So I need quite a
Right.
few different things, and there's nothing more versatile and more consistent than something like a Kemper. So yeah, that's what I'm using. We do rent,
Right.
like, let's say now we're on a bus tour, uh,
Hmm.
we would basically rent a whole lot of gear. We would rent cabs and heads. I usually rent a
Yeah.
backup head that I never use, but it's there in case. And
That's
we
what I
rent
always thought these
drums
bands
and all of
did.
that. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
that's
I,
what we
I
do
didn't
pretty
know
much.
how the fuck like you'd go put a fucking drum kit, like to drive
Yeah,
over or do whatever you got to do. I don't
no,
think it'd
no,
make
no.
it on time.
No, we travel as light as possible. If I didn't have to bring my camper, I wouldn't. If I could just use an amp we rented, that would be awesome. But the thing with like Valve amps and like moving through different venues, the power conditions aren't always the same. You can blow
Yeah.
fuses. They can be like unwanted noise. With the camper, it like eliminates all of those problems. And since I don't mic it up, basically what I do is I run a cab for basically the people in the front row, and just to add to the general on stage sound, and basically use it as a monitor for myself. But then I run straight out of the camper into the front of house, so you're getting an impulse response instead of a mic'd
Gotcha.
up cab, and that's way more
Yeah, that
consistent because I move around so much on stage. I knock mics over. I move like,
yeah.
it's just not the perfect condition for an amp to be mic'd up when yeah, when
I
Vulvodynia
just
is on
bought
the
a
stage. It's very
yeah,
dangerous.
shit goes all over. I just bought a
Yeah,
XFX Ultra recently. I have an angle tube
awesome,
amp, and it's
nice.
great, but it's just super heavy.
Mm.
So I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
screw it,
That's another
I'm gonna
thing.
buy an XFX, and
Yeah,
you know,
the another thing I've been Yeah, that's the whole vibe. Like I'm trying to carry as little gear as possible and the lightest gear possible, because I literally carry my guitar. I've got a headless guitar, so I take that on as hand luggage on the plane, and then I take my camper in another backpack, all on as hand luggage. I don't have to put anything under the plane. I don't have to
I would not put
trust
that
other people. Yeah,
$3,000 thing.
exactly,
No way,
exactly, exactly. But
three
I'm
thousand dollars.
I'm looking at this neural DSP quad cortex now, and that's even
Mm-hmm.
smaller than a Kemper. It does pretty much the same thing. It's just not powered. So I'd have to essentially get a power amp or run it through a head. But even if I get one of these like Seymour Duncan power amps, it will be smaller and lighter than my Kemper, and I can then take my Kemper and laptop with me on tour, and that would be awesome. But yeah, I
Yeah,
also try take as little as possible, because you never know what's going to happen, and if anything gets stolen or lost or damaged, you're kind of going to
yeah.
regret it. So yeah,
That's one thing I've been noticing, like in the last 3 years. Like all these bands, they've been getting robbed more than I've seen in
yeah,
a long
it's
time.
crazy.
I don't
I
know if
saw,
that's because these bands just like, you know, just think everything's gonna be all right and
yeah,
they just don't watch the shit, or
I
I
think
don't know.
coming from South Africa, we're a bit paranoid because there's so much crime here. We're used to looking after our stuff very well and keeping it on
Right.
us. So we've luckily never been robbed ever. We've had to break into our own van before because the key snapped off inside the
Oh no.
the key thing. I don't know what you
The
call that
lock,
thing,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah. That
Wow.
yeah, that was terrible. But that was in
So
Slovakia, I think, or
yeah, oh
Poland. Yeah,
God.
Poland. That's it.
I would lose my kid.
Yeah,
Being
yeah,
like out of the
it was
states and
terrible.
like not having a way to like drive.
Yeah,
Oh fuck.
uh, but
So
it was fine. We sorted it out.
yeah. So you represent Ormsby guitar. What is the
Yes,
most
indeed.
noticeable difference from previous like headless guitars? Because personally, I'm looking at a Stramberg, but like I've
Okay.
never heard of the company that you're a part of.
Okay, well, I've got a Strandberg, and I can compare it. pretty well because I know both the guitars extremely well. So what I like about the Ormsbys compared to the Strandberg is, so the endure neck on the Strandberg is awesome. It's that
Hmm.
like kind of square, triangular, futuristic neck. But as soon as you start extending the range, going to like a 7 or an 8 string guitar, I feel like the neck gets a bit thick and chunky for me. And yeah, I just don't enjoy it that much. And with the Ormsby, the Strandberg has this 0 fret thing as well. So it's got a fret just after the nut. So you're getting like this consistent tone with every note. Like open notes don't sound as twangy, I guess. And
Yeah.
I'm looking for as much twang out of my tone as possible. Like my perfect tone is like a Strat tone. So I look for that in every
Right.
guitar I play, and the Ormsbys just kind of do that. And they are some of the most comfortable guitars I've ever played. Strandbergs are fucking amazingly comfortable as well. But yeah, I've never played a better 8 string in my life than my Ormsby. The string spacing is amazing. The multi-scale bridge and nut just kind of give you the perfect tension for all the lower range stuff. I would never play an 8 string guitar that is not multi-scale, just for the reason I need the higher strings to be bendy and expressive, and I need the lower strings to have enough um like tension for the rhythm parts to not sound out of tune. And when you have
Gotcha.
like a standard scale guitar where everything's basically the same, you compensating on one of the sides. So you'll either have super tight higher strings or super flubby lower strings, and the Ormsby kind of just sorts that all out for me. And the pickups, the Ormsby pickups, there's this pickup called the Hot Rock, and it's one of the best pickups, or the best pickup I've ever played in my life, for metal at least.
Wow.
You get this crazy like djenty tone. You just plug it into any amp and you get like these djent overtones, like it chugs so hard. It's just exactly what I want out of a guitar. So yeah, I couldn't ask
Now,
for anything more than that.
now I just bought a Majesty. How would
Yes,
you
awesome.
how would you compare the feeling of that guitar versus the one that you have?
Well, for starters, how many strings does it have? Is it a six?
That's a
Or
6.
yeah, so
Yeah, I got a 6.
obviously I've played a Majesty in my life, but I haven't played them enough to know like too much about how they feel. Like I can't think in my brain right now how a Majesty feels, so I couldn't give you like a factual answer on that. But
Right.
the Ormsby neck is the most comfortable 8 string neck I've ever played, and it's for the thumping technique, the coil split, and just the split sounds you get out of it are
Oh,
perfect.
coil
And
split, man.
yeah, that's I'm all about it, you know.
So you're offering guitar lessons,
Yeah.
guest solos, mixing, mastering
Yes.
during this virus. Did you do
Exactly.
this stuff? Did you do this stuff beforehand?
So basically for the last year, I've been touring so much that I haven't had time for any of this. Like, I basically toured from May last year till February this year, and wasn't home for more than like 2 weeks at a time. That like between those tours. So it was very hard for me to mix and to do lessons and stuff. And when I was home, I just kind of wanted to rest because I was touring so much. So I didn't really
Right.
do that for a while. I was doing it, but yeah, now I'm back to doing all of that stuff because touring is not happening right now. It's completely non-existent. So I'm just spending time on making
Only
music.
on social media.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
could play
yeah.
a show on your phone.
It's true.
I think
You
that
you
I
could.
think that's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
Like to see. I mean, I guess you're still seeing people. Like you have 5 people in your band. You're still playing a show,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's
Uh,
still cool to see. I think the funniest thing was I was watching and like just a live broadcast of Killbot and Gorgor. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
him.
No, I don't know them.
He's a like a metal YouTube channel guy.
Yeah.
He just does a lot of reviews and stuff. And I went on his live stream, and there was like 150 people like on there, like
Wow.
watching him. He's like, dude, I've never had this amount of people like watch me during these. Like, this is awesome.
That's
And like,
great.
and it's kind of cool because at least people are actually still on their phones, supporting musicians
Yeah.
and YouTubers and
Yeah, people are being
podcasters.
very supportive and cool right now. So it's great. Like, I think everyone's trying to evolve with what's happening right now and kind of just make things work still. And it's so cool seeing
Yeah,
people be so creative and come up with all these cool ideas on how to keep the music industry going during this time. But
yeah.
unfortunately, here in South Africa, we're not even allowed. I can't even drive to my band. That I could get arrested
Holy
because
crap!
you need a permit
You're
to.
you're
Yeah,
literally quarantined. Like, you can't leave
yeah,
your house.
we're totally
You're
locked
locked up,
down for
nailed
5 weeks. Yeah,
What about
Uh,
food, man?
we allow driving to the shops, but if you're caught driving somewhere else, you can get in a lot of trouble. So you can go to your
Right,
closest store, and they only have essential stores open, like um, basically for food and medicine, and that's it.
right. You know, United States, it's the same way. But I went to Best Buy today because I had to return something,
Wow, yeah, we
and
can't even do that.
well, it was kind of ridiculous because Lowe's, for an example, it's a hardware store.
Yeah,
The whole place was packed, probably more than I've ever seen. And it's like, dude, these people aren't quarantined. They're doing whatever the fuck they want to get money, you know?
yeah,
Like, it was about as busy um as usual. And it's kind of
that's so
scary because
terrible.
it's kind of scary because United States, it seems like they're not being as stressful on this whole
No,
situation where talking to you, it's like you're in your house, and if you're caught, you're gonna get like in trouble. So
yes. It's very serious here. And I know South Africa's looked at being really amazing with this whole thing right now. They're doing exactly what they need to be doing. And we're
mhm.
still in the early stages. We've only had like 2000 and something cases. So we're not even close to America, but they've like
Not
literally.
even
Yeah, not we're
not
so
even
far away.
close.
Yeah. So
Uh,
they're really taking action super soon, and I think it's because of the townships here. If it's basically, if you don't know what a township is, it's basically just like where all the poor people live. It's like shacks. It's
mhm.
the worst conditions you could live in, and it's terrible to see, but these people are in close contact and they live super close to each other, and they don't have proper access to like healthcare, and it can be get very out of control because they also have the AIDS is huge in South Africa in these townships. So there's a lot of
Wow.
risk of a lot of people dying from the coronavirus. So I think they've had to really take this seriously because it could get to a point where our hospitals are so overcrowded that they can't even help anyone anymore. So we really need to kind of be strict about it. Otherwise, things are going to go very wrong. And I've heard on the news that it's only going to peak in August, and it could be with us for the next 18 to 24 months. So
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
even
I
know.
saw
Yeah.
I saw something on Facebook today that it said that we might be locked up. Well, not us, man. We just go party, I guess, but um 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
So I this podcast might be going for a little bit longer than I thought.
Uh, well,
So
yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. I don't know how to think of this whole thing and how to feel. It's kind of weird, but yeah, the nothing this crazy has ever happened before. Like I feel like
yeah,
on a global scale in my life, there hasn't been any wars or like anything crazy. So
right.
for this to happen, it's like really strange. It's like I think everyone's kind of a bit confused about how they should feel and how worried they should be and how serious this actually is.
Right.
Because yeah, people are not prepared for this type of thing, and I think that's why it's getting so bad because people are like, "Well, this has never happened before. It's okay," and it's okay
Yeah, it's
until it's
okay,
actually not okay.
It's not. It's the
Yeah,
opposite. The world's shutting down and you're
yeah, it's
still
completely the
partying.
opposite. Yeah, yeah, it's so
So,
bad. Some lady, I went to the shop today, and some lady like coughed on me. I got so upset. I was like, "You
ah,
can't do this. Like, at least cover your mouth, you know."
you should have you should have been like, "Excuse me, miss."
Yeah, I wish I did that. Yeah.
Man. So how would you describe your metal did you even say you had a metal scene in South Africa?
We do actually. We have a very cool metal scene here. It's not very big, but it's like a family. Like everyone kind of like all the bands know each other and we yeah, it's got its own whole community. Not many of the bands leave South Africa, so a lot of these bands are only popular with South
In
Africans.
South Africa.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's very interesting. Like, you can get quite a lot of people at a show. Like, I don't know, Black Dahlia Murder came down and played here the other day,
Wicked.
just before this lockdown, just before everything went to shit. And yeah, I got to hang out with them. Our drummer was their tour manager, so we got to like have a barbecue with them and just chill, and it was amazing. And yeah, Trevor's also featured on one of our songs, so it was
Right.
really cool to like be able to see them again. I met them 2 years ago in Germany when my other band Zavleg, which is my comedy death metal band, like meme band, played this festival in Germany. It was actually our first show ever with that band, I think, or second show. It was our second show. I don't know, first or second show. No, it was
Yeah.
definitely the first one. But yeah, it was Black Dahlia played that same fest, and that's where we met them for the first time, and it was great to see them again. But they had about 3,000 people at their show here in South Africa, and I think most of the people came there for them. It was more like a festival, but yeah, I think Dahlia was the main attraction. So there are people that will show up to shows if it's like a bigger band. I think a lot of the bands here might struggle with getting a turnout. But we had a African tour earlier this year, and we even played places like Mozambique and Botswana, and all the shows were massively packed. We had about like I would say on average maybe 200 people at a show. So for South Africa, that's pretty good. Or Africa, you know.
So,
So yeah.
what album were they actually doing when they played? Like what was their recent
Um,
release for that show?
are you talking about the Black Dahlia murder still, or
Yes, yes.
what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
Black
Okay,
Dahlia.
they played. They just are releasing an album right now. They actually played like a whole lot of songs from a whole lot of albums. They didn't. I
Oh,
feel like they
you're talking
didn't
about
stick to one.
yeah, my bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
So
this was like right now.
wow. No, they're awesome, dude.
Yeah,
That new album is freaking phenomenal. Um
yeah, it's incredible.
I've been a I've been a huge fan of Nocturnal, I don't know, for the
Yeah,
last 2 years.
everyone's a huge fan of that. Big fan of that album. It's amazing.
I uh I went to the show where they played that whole thing back to back and I was
Oh
like,
yeah, I saw that tour.
my
Oh
lord,
yeah, that looked amazing.
so good.
Yeah,
So originally you were the bassist of Vulvodynia and now you're the
that's true.
guitarist.
Yeah.
What is more fun to play live?
Oh, that's a hard one. I guess I love playing guitar and I love playing lead guitar and I love playing guitar solos. So that's amazing. But I felt on bass, I just could rarely go super crazy. I still go super crazy on guitar, but I feel like on bass it was like a whole nother level of energy. But yeah,
Right.
I love
Yeah,
playing high
I
energy
feel like
music.
playing slam, playing bass is
Yeah,
totally different.
yeah. But I was
So
doing a whole lot of like slap stuff. I was playing all slap with my fingers. I wasn't using a
Mm-hmm.
pick, and that was really fun. And that's where I kind of started developing the thumping technique, was because I was playing bass, and then I moved that
Mm-hmm.
over to guitar. And now I'm basically in Vulvodynia. I'm playing an 8-string guitar, so I can basically play bass and guitar at the same time. Like I still play thumping parts, still like basically are playing bassy sounding parts. So it's cool. I'm still carrying those techniques over onto
Yeah.
guitar. Yeah.
So my last two questions would be, when did you start playing guitar, and what was it? When you go to record your records, do you use that Kemper or do you use tube amps?
So, okay. So what was the first question? Well, when did I start? Okay,
Yes.
so I started when I was about 12 years old, almost 13, I guess. I actually started as a drummer like a year or two before that, when I was like 11. So drums was just always something, like I could never find a good drum teacher. All my drum teachers were guitarists, and every time like I would play drums, like it would have to be at a reasonable time of the day, and like, it's kind of a hard instrument to practice. And I just found when I started guitar, I was just like, every day at school I'd bring it with me, and at every spare moment I'd just be playing my guitar at school.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so that started becoming just my main thing, because I was able to play it more and play it everywhere. And then slowly I just drifted away from drums, and I was like, okay, guitar's my main instrument now, and I took that seriously. And then after like ninth grade, I left school to go to music school, and basically studied music and finished school at the same time. And then by the time I was like 19, I had already a music qualification, and I was ready to start touring and do what I'm doing now. So, yeah,
Hell yeah.
I decided at a very young age that music was what I wanted to do. And when it comes to recording, I use my Kemper a lot at home for recording. Like, it's amazing. But we actually
Mhm.
just track DIs and reamp through real valve amps on albums. Um, that's pretty much how it's been since, like, for the last two albums. We've just got our DIs reamped. We just make sure we send in really high quality DIs and let
Yeah.
the mix engineers take care of that.
I personally, if I do any type of recording, I feel like that's the
Mm,
easiest way, man. Like, you just sit
yeah.
in your home studio, which I do, and just get the best
Mm.
take as possible and not, piss off all the neighbors using tube amp till you get the right take. So,
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. Like, we do have the everything we would possibly need to record a tube amp, but the thing is, we don't. The amps that we would want to use are probably like 5150s or something along those lines,
yeah,
and we don't really have those. I've been using my Kemper, so we've got the studio. Our bassist Chris has an amazing studio, um, and that's where we recorded the last album. We're busy recording there now. We're working on new music. But after this lockdown, it's kind of stopped us in our tracks a bit. I can't go to the studio. I guess I could record here, but I've been having some. I don't trust my house so much when it comes to like grounding and everything. I just like would rather record everything at his studio. I get great recordings here, but at the same time, I like being consistent and would like to just do it
right.
with him. But if it gets to a point where this gets extended even further, I'll probably just end up recording at home. So yeah,
Gotcha.
but we could record real amps if we wanted to, but reamping has just been the way for us for the last couple albums, I guess.
That's the key, man. That is the key to be a guitar player, I guess.
Yeah.
It saves so much more money. Like, well, it depends. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to a studio or not, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah. It
for
depends.
me, dude, I'd go 30, 25, $30 an hour. I'd go in. I would fuck up every take. I I don't know. It's like just more
Yeah.
stressful. Just way more stressful when money's involved.
It is
So,
stressful. But sometimes, yeah, that's why it's cool that we can do it ourselves and we have been recording ourselves. It's way better that way, in my opinion, because yeah, money sucks and money is pressure, and then that makes you suck. So